morning. I'm Sergeant Cynthia Arrington, and today my partners and I will be discussing this book called There Are No Shortcuts by Rafe Esquith. And what it discusses is the trials and tribulations that teachers of today have in the education system. My panel is myself, Dante Todd, and Jenny Stovall, and we'll be discussing certain chapters within the book.
Woo! And we're back. How you doing? My name is Dante Todd, and this is the Todd Show. Now, today we have two wonderful ladies that we're going to be talking to them about this upcoming and uprising book right here. There Are No Shortcuts. By, what's the author's name again?
Rafe Esquith.
By Rafe Esquith. Now, a little background on Rafe Esquith. He's a 5th grade teacher during the times of the Rodney King incident was going on. And they're going to talk to us about, what chapters 3 and 4 and the prologue and epilogue. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let me ask, who do we have here? What's your name?
Sergeant Cynthia Arrington.
Sergeant Cynthia Arrington. How are you doing?
I'm good.
What's your name?
Jenny Stovall.
Jenny Stovall. Okay. Of course, my name is Dante Todd. It is a Todd Show. So, all right. I actually read this book as well, and I haven't been able to talk about it on my shows before, so I'm going to go ahead and say something about it right now. This book starts off by Mr. Esquith actually declaring that he's comparing his father to a boxer, and then he actually compares teachers as well to a boxers. He compares them in a shape that, you know, boxers take hits and teachers do as well. The only difference between a good teacher and a bad teacher is that a good teacher gets up after those hits are thrown and rises to the occasion and answers the bell still. All right, now, actually, we're going to go ahead and start. The question, chapter 3. Cynthia, is you? Okay. Why is it that Mr. Esquith feels that our children are such poor readers today?
Well, first of all, basically, by him being a teacher, he initially started off in sort of like a upper class income with upper class children, where reading wasn't an issue. Okay, he later moved into inner city school, where he found that not only the children couldn't read, but they didn't speak English, and then it came to they were from low income families, and believe it or not, books, even a library card, weren't even found within the household. And so therefore the kids were poor readers. We're finding that a lot today. It could have a lot to do with the income. It could have a lot to do with the family structure, because, you know, in order to be a good reader, it has to come from school. The teachers are responsible. The parents are responsible. And so if they come from a low-income family, then some of those resources aren't there. And so our children, we're finding that more and more of our children today are very poor readers. So also another problem was that he had to come up with ways where the school system be responsible for children being interested in reading. And we find that school systems sometimes put restrictions on the type of books that are being read within the school, and the children just aren't interested. So therefore, we're caught up with that.
Okay. I'll ask you another question about chapter 3. What are some teaching methods that Mr. Esquith spoke about in the book?
Well, he talked about a basal reader, which is something that is being used in the school systems today. And basically what it is, it's textbooks where they have chosen selective readings, and it comes in sort of like a kit form, a standardized kit form, where there are the books, there's the teacher's editions, there are worksheets that have to be filled out, and there are activities that go along with these books to help the kids to read. There's some benefits and there's some criticisms about this basal reader, but that's basically what is being used today. Okay.
All right, well, I have one more question. I don't want to keep, badgering you and whatnot. I want to ask a couple questions about chapter 3, but I have one more.
Okay.
Now, what does Mr. Esquith do to improve the reading skills of his students? What does he do personally?
Okay. What he does is, first of all, he goes outside of the box, which a lot of teachers, especially the inexperienced ones, won't dare to do, but he does. And what I mean by that is he's required to use the basal reader requirements, but he doesn't. Okay, he says he does, but he really doesn't. And what he does is he picks books that would be more interested, and he picks books that he loves to read. That way, he's more enthused about the reading. He's more motivated, and it also motivates the children to want to read. So the books may not use the right language that the school system would want to see in the book, or it might not have the right topic, but it is something that keeps the kids interested in it, and so now they love to read.
All right. Well, that's basically chapter 3 summed up in you, and we're going to be back after these messages. Okay. All right, we're back to the talk show. Woo! All right, now we're going to go ahead and discuss chapter 4 with Jenny. Jenny, before we get on with the discussing, I have a question, and everyone wants to know it, of course. You know, were you in Forrest Gump? Is that where you get Jenny? No? Okay, we had to ask. I asked, all right. Okay, now back to what we were discussing. Chapter 4. What were Mr. Esquith's views for teaching bilingual education?
For him, he isn't like most of the teachers that believe that teaching children in their native language would be un-American, and at the same time, he's not one of those that says that, not teaching them in their language disrupts or destructs their history and culture. He believes that, yes, early on they should learn their language, but as they get into the different schools, to be able to keep up with the other students and not fall behind, and, for filling out high school applications or college applications and being unable to do the essay portion, that they should be taught in the language that is prominent in the nation they're in.
Okay, that's a very great answer. Actually, chapter 4 was one of my favorites. In the whole book, I really, really appreciated chapter 4 because it explained the type of condition that the world was in at that time. Because during that chapter, it actually gives you an inside look at the Rodney King incident. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but apparently Rodney King was supposedly beaten by police, and the police actually got off without being prosecuted for it. So during this time, Mr. Esquith actually took his kids to Disney World for a trip. It was actually an educational trip. And when they came back, as they was riding through the city, they were actually bombarded by the mob that was going on and the Raven Ranch that was going on with burning the buildings and everything. So his kids got to experience that firsthand. But he actually stated in his book, had they been paying attention to the news, they would have known that was going on. So he gave it a lesson there. Now, can you tell me what happened in the epilogue? What happened in that at the end of this book?
He just started feeling disheartened because a lot of the things that happened for his trials and tribulations in the book were weighing him down. Like, he kept getting in trouble with his administrators, where instead of going to the teaching trips that they wanted the teachers to take 2 and 3 days off of school for, he would stay and teach his students instead. And because he kept getting in trouble, he was feeling disheartened, but at the end of the day, he remembered, after talking to 2 of his students and watching them interact, that it's for the students and that he felt he could do the next 20 years no problem at, the very least.
Okay. Well, there you have it. We have Cynthia Arrington, Sergeant First Class Sergeant Cynthia Arrington. We have Jenny Stovall and me, Dante Todd. That's our thing for the day. There are no shortcuts. Go get the book. We did.